I think this is something that is, even if you've been contouring for a while, like I have, it's great to kind of review some of the contouring tips, maybe learn some new things, and that's what we're here to do. So as you come on, make sure you say hi, let me know where you're watching from, please, and comment any questions you have. I'll be live in the chat, so I'll be able to answer your questions as you ask them, so that'll be really fun. Okay, so this is contour. Okay, this is cream contour. And it's really fabulous. It can do so many things, from framing our face, enhancing our natural bone structure. Contour actually adds kind of like a shadow. So it adds a shadow, which means wherever you add a shadow, you're pushing things back or making them look smaller or making them look farther away. Okay, so think about that. So that's really what contour does for our face as well. And it's really fun and it's really easy, and you can experiment with it and try it. So I'm going to be talking about let me look at my notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I forgot about lips. About one. Okay, forehead and our temples, nose, cheeks, our jaw, our double chin and neck, and our lips. I forgot to write down lips. So let's do that too, because I never contour my lips. And I thought, you know what? If I show it and try to practice it and teach it, maybe I'll do it more. All right, so let's get started. Yes, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. All right, so let's go ahead and grab some contour. This is a cream contour. The company or the brand is called Saint. And the shade that I'm using to show you here today is called Astoria. There's a lot of different contour shades, and when you get color matched, I help you choose your contour shade depending on a lot of different variables, your skin tone, your eye color, your hair color, and also a little bit on, do you like a more full coverage makeup or a more glam makeup, or are you very natural, no makeup gal? So all of that kind of I take into account when I color match you. Okay, so let's start with the forehead. So why would we contour our forehead and where? So let's talk about that first. So foreheads. There are different types of foreheads, right? There are taller foreheads. We call these, like mine. Mine's a 4-finger forehead, meaning 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers. So take your fingers right now and hold them up on your forehead and let me know, are you a 2, 3, or 4-finger forehead? Put 2, 3, or 4. Yep, just put your fingers up there, and then you decide how from here to about right at your brow line, okay? So mine is 4. All right, a lot of us have taller foreheads. So if you have a taller forehead and you happen to wear your hair swiped over, or you have no bangs, or a lot of times you might have bangs but you swipe them over, then you're going to want to contour your forehead this way, which means adding some contour. I like to add about 2 fingers worth of contour down. So I'm going to start with this brush is the detail brush. This is the contour brush that I use, and it's all double-ended. So I'm going to tap into the contour and get some on my brush, and then I'm going to come up here and press. So about 2 fingers is about the width of this brush, which is so nice. So I'm going to tap, tap, and just bring that right across the top of my forehead here. Now, if I had a 2-finger forehead, and really I just want my eyes to show, well, and my forehead kind of started here, well, I'm not going to tap and contour my forehead, right? Because now all of a sudden, you're adding a shadow and you've really just shortened your face even more. We don't want to do that. Contouring for someone who has a taller forehead, we're doing that to shorten our face, right? Okay, so what we want to do then is just continue to tap if it's, 4. And if you have a shorter forehead, then maybe if your forehead was like this and my face was shorter, I may not contour at all up there. I may just contour along my temples if my face is fuller. So I would come this way if my face was fuller, and I would add my contour maybe out here if I had a shorter forehead, and not along the top. You know what I mean? Okay, like that. Now, that is one way here. The other thing we want to talk about is our temples and the width of our face. So if your face is still, and your temples are still quite, they're not sunken in over here, or you're not losing a lot of volume in your temples. As we tend to get older, right in here, it tends to, mine's starting to lose volume. You can kind of see it indent right here. but not a ton yet, but I can see it right in here. So I definitely don't want to add more contour right in here to increase the indentation of that. But if you have a much fuller face, maybe more rectangle or round, and it's not scooping out, then you can, like over here, bring your contour down a bit. And if not, if it is, stop and don't bring your contour down into that area, because that is just going to enhance that, and you don't want to do that, right? Okay, so contouring on our forehead. So there we go. And then how you want to blend out contour is it's going to go up until your hairline. So you can either tap, and then where this line meets the other part of your face, we just want to lightly tap over that to soften that line so that it's not a harsh line. So just kind of keep tapping until the makeup, your main shade and your contour, that line starts to, you see that starting to soften and just kind of blends naturally. Okay, so let me know what you think, and let's see how many, yes, let's keep saying how many 2, 3, or 4 finger foreheads we have. All right, so I hope that was helpful. The next place we want to talk about contouring is, let's do the hard one, and that for me is the nose. I never contour my nose. I have such a hard time with that. But I think it helps if you have a smaller brush and you use a brush. So this is the multitasker brush, has this end on it and then a little paddle end. And you can start with looking at your nose and deciding, do I even need to contour my nose? I usually don't, because I just don't. I kind of have more, it's not a super narrow nose, but it's definitely a longer nose. So again, what does a shadow do? A shadow shortens things, right? So I'm going to show how to shorten my nose on where I'm going to contour. And if you have a wider nose, adding contour could help give it the look of a more narrow nose. And then if you have a shorter nose, you can contour by bringing that contour up a bit, even into right up to your brow, to kind of give the look of a longer nose. So I'm going to do all 3 on my nose so you can see what I'm doing. You may not need to do all 3 of those, but let's take a multitasker brush and I'm going to rotate and see how I'm tapping on the tip of it. So I'm not loading it up this way because I just want the tip. I want to be able to like draw with it. You see that? Let's see. So I can just kind of draw with the contour. So I'm going to tap in. So one way, if you have a shorter nose and you want to elongate kind of, or just kind of get that continual line, is you can take and start at your brow. Let me take a little bit off. Looks like I had a little bit there. And just come down. And then we're going to get down to where the nose is. And I want to follow this down. And where I'm going to put this line is not on the side of my nose, not in the middle, but where the bridge of your nose starts to roll over. So if you have to kind of feel that, sometimes I'll even just use my finger like this to guide me, because I'm not really good at just freehanding. So this helps. Okay, so I'm coming down along where the bridge, where I can feel that start to roll over. That really helps a lot. Let me do the other side really quick. So this is to elongate if I wanted to, just kind of continue the eye up a bit. And then when I get here, I'm going to feel where that is, and I'm just going to follow. It's a little weird here with my fingers in the way and me looking off to the side, but see, I got a little off here. I want to just really feel where that is and continue down. Like this. You see how quiet I get when I'm drawing or concentrating? Do you do that too? Just don't hold your breath. That's another thing I do, is hold my breath. Forget to breathe. Okay, so I'm just bringing these down. Okay, so we've got these 2 lines that, as straight as we can get them, kind of coming down where that bridges over. Now, if we want to shorten our nose, we're going to take the brush, again, tap in, and we're going to draw from the points to the tip to the tip, so like a V. So I'm going to come in like this and like this. You see that? And that's going to help give my nose and kind of help shorten it. And then the other thing that you're going to want to do to shorten and to kind of maybe make your nose look a little bit shorter or give it some definition on the tip, if it's really a long, skinny, narrow nose, is to come in and do this little kind of half circle right around the ball of the nose, just to kind of contour that. And you see that there? It's a little tricky, but you have to practice. So you can see me, how messy I am, and see that, you know, well, we're gonna blend it. It's gonna be fine. Okay, so once we do that and we kind of get that, we're gonna take the same brush and I'm just gonna wipe off some of that excess. And then we wanna start tapping and just kind of blending that in. So I'm gonna start up here and just kind of pull that contour in on the inside of my eye here. That'll be kind of nice. See how it just gives my eye around the kind of the orbital socket and bone of my eye. It just kind of helps contour that a little bit, define that and narrow this a little bit. You see that there? Okay, then over here, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna tap, and I'm not gonna blend it in towards the center because that we wanna keep lighter. I'm just gonna lightly tap it and start to blend it a little bit on the bone and then kind of more towards the side of my nose. But I don't wanna bring it all the way down. I'm just doing a very light amount, okay? When we get to this part, same thing, we just wanna tap over it to soften and blend it. Same thing here, we're gonna just kind of tap, soften those lines. We're blending it down. We don't wanna walk around with like little lines on our nose, okay? Same thing over here, just tapping, kind of just pulling that down. So I've got this kind of here, the contouring along here and here. Now another thing you can do is if you still feel like you have, you know, some lines, is just take your prepped perfector sponge, it's damp, and just lightly tap and press kind of over the nose, just to make sure that nothing is too severe, okay? Now the final step on the nose is, now we've contoured, is to brighten and pull forward the center to make it look more narrow, or to pull it forward. So I'm gonna take the other side of that brush, pick up a little bit of my brightener highlight shade, and we're just gonna bring that right down the middle, the bridge of the nose, like that. You could draw it on with your finger as well, and then just put a little bit on the tip. And then again, just, I'm gonna take my finger this time and just tap it to blend that in a little bit. So it's very subtle. We don't need always to have like a severe line, you know. I mean, you could go down the middle with a line like this, but sometimes it's nice to just draw a little tiny bit. And then, like you say, you can take your sponge, always to blend and soften. Okay, phew. So you can see I'm not perfect at it, and it takes a lot of practice, and that's probably why I don't do it very often. All right, let's skip and do, let's do our lips just for the heck of it. Okay, so you can actually contour underneath your bottom lip to add a shadow right here, which then it gives the illusion that your lip is a little fuller by adding a shadow. So I'll just use that same small end of that brush, a little bit of my contour, and we're gonna come underneath, right underneath here. Kind of right underneath that, the actual line of color. So I'm not really on the lip, I'm underneath it, like that. And then again, same kind of thing, as we can take the brush or our finger and just pat or tap to enhance that shadow. See how it just creates this, enhances that shadow, and it makes it look like your lip's a little bit fuller. Now up on top here, you would want to not do that. If you wanted your lip to look a little bit more perky, then we would take some of our lighter color, the top of our lips, which, by the way, I need to add a little more color to my lips. I'll do that. I'm using this, I gotta show you these colors. So I'm using this again, the Spellbound, the new one, the shade of the season. Look at how pretty this is. Here, let me put it on a little heavier. Oh my gosh. I got distracted. And then I've been using Sunshine State over the top. just to soften it a little bit, but isn't that pretty? It's so pretty. All right, so let's make the top of our lips look maybe a little bit fuller or poofier. And so we'll take the lighter color like we did down the middle of our nose, because when we add light, it pulls forward. And we're just gonna put some right here in the little V, in the Cupid's bow. And then again, just tap to soften that out. But that is just really fun. So there's the lips. That's pretty easy. I could do that more. I just never do. All right, what do you think? Okay, so now let's move on to contouring our cheekbones. So there are two different ways. There's probably a ton of different ways, but there are two different ways I was going to share on how to contour your cheekbones. And you want to decide what kind of cheekbones do you have, and or what kind of cheekbones do you want to enhance, or, you know, so if your face is longer and more, you know, narrow, maybe thinner, and you want to enhance and have more of a little lift, or like a lift to your cheeks, a little fuller, then you're going to contour this way. And what you'll do is, you can do it however you want. We can take our contour brush and do this end. We could take, like, this is the smudge brush if we want to draw it on or press it on. So I'm going to show you this way just because I want you to see the actual, like a line. So I'm going to take a little bit of the contour with this smudge brush. And so again, we're going to feel for where our cheekbone is. And so instead of coming down, I'm going to feel, and I'm actually going to come up. So right as it kind of hits this part of my eye, I'm going to kind of have it swoosh up. Okay, so we're going to just bring it along underneath the cheekbone. I can feel it. Okay, can you see that? And then when I get to about here, I'm going to swoop that up so it kind of cups and pulls and kind of gives the illusion of a little bit fuller. It's going to lift the cheek a bit. And what we can do is, again, we always want to blend our contour up. We never want to blend the contour down, because we do want to kind of have that lift. And I'm just blending by just tapping over it a little bit. So this is kind of coming up a bit and giving me a little bit more of a lift on this side. Now over here, let's say I just want to have a much more thinner face. Maybe I have a fuller cheek already and I want to help enhance a chiseled out and a little bit longer, higher lifted. So then I would take, again, my contour brush or whatnot, and I would find my cheekbone, right where it is, right underneath here, and I'm gonna tap, but instead of having it curl up at the end, I'm just gonna come straight on with it, like this, okay? So straight in this angle, stopping about the outside of my eye. Then I'll take my brush again, and we're gonna tap and press over, and it's gonna be coming up more to blend. Okay, so this one gives a little fuller cheek because we gave it a little hook at the end. You can kind of see it's still there. And then you can fill in and add more of your blush if you want to. So let me do that. I'll put a little bit more of I'm gonna put the Sunshine State with a little bit of that Spellbound, and I'll put that right here, right above it. And then here, kind of right in it. So instead of above it, this kind of comes down a bit, so I can be a little bit more of a fuller blush as well. You see the difference? So let's do that, where this is going to be a little bit fuller cheek, and this is going to be lifted. So lifted and a little fuller. Okay, so what do you think? Are you team lifted? Let me know if you're lifted or if you like full, the fuller look. What did I do there? Must have scratched myself. Who knows? Okay, all right. Now, what did we do? We did forehead, we did our temples, we did our nose, we did lips, we just did our cheeks, and now let's do our jaw. All right, so if you have want to enhance your jawline, I love to use the detail brush. This is made so perfectly to automatically, like, just, it presses, like, right when you set it up against your jaw, it's gonna, half of the brush puts it right along the just along the edge of the jaw, and the other goes right underneath, and it's just the perfect brush for contouring. So if we just have no, we haven't had any, we're not starting to get any jowls. So the jowls are like when you start to, this, I don't have really bad jowls, but where this starts to kind of get drooping here and kind of gets kind of like this little layer of skin that pulls down. And a lot of times you may see this also, what's happening for me anyway, is I have this little indentation kind of where it comes here. So what we're gonna do is, whether you have jowls or not, is to start our contour up here behind our ear and stop it. If you have started to get jowls or older, mature, is stop it right where it kind of indents there, okay? So go ahead and take your contour brush, tap in firmly, flat, you know, right in, and then you're gonna go up here behind your ear, press it right on your jawline, and then tap it all the way down to about that point right here. So I'm just tapping it. I like to tap and press all my makeup. I just get in the habit of doing it that way, so you can see it here. And then contour on your jawline gets blended down and back. So then I'll take the brush and I'm blending down and I'm blending back on my neck, okay? All right, and that is how you do that. So if you have more of a jowl, something you can do is you can actually take a lighter color like we did down our nose and pick a little bit up of that brightener color, and where that is really kind of dipping down, we're gonna fill that in kind of right here to give it just a little bit, to pull it out a bit so that it's not indenting, because we know that when we add light colors, they tend to pull things forward. So I'm adding that there just lightly, and then I'll take my contour brush and the same thing, tap in right in the face, and we'll start out here underneath our chin again, pressing, but then you want to stop again right there where that indents, and then brush it down and back. Okay, so I hope those are good tips. What do you think about that? See how easy? Contour's not hard at all, right? Okay, then the next thing, the last thing I want to do is talk about like our neck, if we want to help define our neck a bit, and if we have a double chin and we want to enhance, not enhance that double chin, but actually kind of help hide it or add an extra shadow, so to give the illusion. And so I love this one. This is like my favorite thing to do. So what you're going to do is grab your brush. Remember how your brush is about 2 finger widths, you know? Okay, but what we're going to do is we're going to take our 2 fingers, we're going to put it underneath our chin, because we're not going to put this under our chin, right there. So it's, and then you're going to tip your head back, and right here you're going to press and wiggle so that the contour comes off and it goes right here. So can you see that? It's adding this shadow. It's enhancing a shadow right here, kind of behind, and then bringing my double chin in so it has a little bit of a shadow. So then what you do is you're going to bring them down. You're going to blend it down along here to also kind of enhance your neck, contour your neck a bit. And then I just like to tap that along there, keeping that kind of under here. I don't want to pull it down inside here, but I do want to bring it down along those tendons. And that really does help enhance that. So what do you think? You think you're going to give contouring a try? Do you not feel as nervous or scared or intimidated by it? I sure hope so. Let me know. Let me know. All right, so if this is something you want to try, okay, and you want a free resource, you know I'm all about making really fun resources for you that give you all the products that I used, sharing like step-by-step instructions and all of that, and maybe even some fun bonus contouring videos I'll put in there. So what I want you to do is I want you to comment the number 1 and C, 1C. Comment that below and it'll send you a message with my free resource on my best contouring tips for you, okay? So thank you, go ahead, if you're watching this later on the replay, keep asking questions, and you can comment at any time as well, and I will follow up. I'll be answering the questions right there, and it's been so much fun to kind of do this live with you and interact with you live through the comments while we were doing this. So keep messaging me, keep commenting, and I will be checking back later when it's not officially live. So if you are catching it later, make sure you comment replay and then type in your questions or anything that you need me to help with. So let me know if you're going to give it a try. Okay? Thanks again, gals. I'll talk to you soon.